peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Viewers, good morning Africa, wherever you are. We are looking at the rise from the ashes of the Judiciary of the Republic of Kenya. For the last 2 years, since the nullification of elections of 2017, the Judiciary of the Republic of Kenya has been on the headlines and in every newspaper worldwide, nationally, regionally, and Africa at large. The nullification of that election brought what we call a dual system of courage of justice.
That the presidential election held on 8th August 2017 was not conducted in accordance with the Constitution and the applicable law, rendering the declared results invalid, null, and void.
The justice that is demanded by civil society, international civil society, and the local civil societies, and the justice demanded by the interest of the nation. Given the two, which one do Kenyans want? Do they want the interest of the nation? In the interest of the nation, President Uhuru Kenyatta decided to go back to campaign in order to show the world that he was able, and he is able, and he was the winner. The campaigns took place, an election was reconducted. For the second time, Uhuru emerged the winner of that election. From then, the judiciary has never been a judiciary for the people of Kenya. It has been a judiciary commanded, supported, equipped logistically by either local NGOs or international NGOs that tell them on what to do, not to do. And above all, the situation of judicial officers themselves being activists. We have seen a number of judges acting like activists on the streets, making decisions that are not in the interest of the judiciary and not in the interest of the country at large. The release of terrorists or alleged terrorists from courts using the law, and then the terrorists return to kill many Kenyans, is one of the factors that has caught our eye. In Africa School of Thought, we believe that Chief Justice Maraga and his entire team, or Chief Justice Maraga, the Deputy Chief Justice, Madam Uhuru, have not done a service for this country. They have misused the powers conferred upon them by the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya to either do politicking or accuse the executive of being political or being a witch hunter against the judiciary. Time and time again, President Uhuru Kenyatta has pumped in money in the judiciary to raise the standards of the employees of the judiciary, to give the judges freedom and welfare that they are able to conduct their affairs without interference. Is it time now for the Kenyans to say we have had enough of a bad judiciary? Is it time now for us to fight and for Africa to rise up Because we see a lot of shrinkage of constitutionalism being done by the judges. If you look at what the judges in Malawi did, they did it in the morning, they reversed it in the afternoon, they ate it during dinner. Is this what Kenyans want? I leave it to you, Kenyans. Our hopes lie on the judicial service, the new judicial service system that has been put there. And hopefully, and only hopefully, that one day we shall rise from the ashes of corruption. Thank you.
Ikaamua ya kwamba inastahili tufanyie wananchi hawa haki. Hatuna budi kusema ukweli, ijapo unachoma utatuweka huru. Taifa letu la Kenya limesonga mbele tangu mwaka wa 2013. Rais wetu Moyale umeyatenga.
What we want, brothers and sisters, is to see a deepening of the integration between our two countries. And you, the people who live on this border, the people of Kenya here in Moyale, the people of Ethiopia here in Moyale, have a central role to play to strengthen that relationship, that partnership.
It is a great joy for me to witness that we are one people, one family, into two countries with artificial border. So this is one of the key milestones for the two people to exchange experiences, investment, trade, and tourism. I hope this will continue to our neighbors to integrate the whole East Africa as one family.
Remember when I came to visit you, you were telling me you were going to finish this. So you've done it. Not only this.
We want to see Moyale becoming the Dubai of this whole region. Watu wawe wanakuja hapa Moyale. Vijana wa Kenya wapate kazi, vijana wa Ethiopia wapate kazi. Na watu wanakuja kununua vyombo vyao hapa na kuzipeleke katika nchi zingine. Hiyo ndio mwanzo wa uhusiano mwema. That is the beginning of true partnership, true cooperation. And all of these is just to continue to strengthen the partnership between our two countries, to increase the volume of trade between our two countries, to increase the level of investment between our two countries, and to tighten even further the bonds of friendship between our two people.
A very good morning to you, and thank you for joining us. This is The Punch, where we look at the week that was and stories that have made headlines across this week. And we've been talking about so much and still a lot of things that continue to make headlines today. So we shall be looking at that. But before we get to that, also we shall go through the news making headlines today on the leading newspapers. That is the Star newspaper, the Standard, as well as the Daily Nation. And we have so much to talk about. As we know today, our Chief Justice David Maraga is retiring, going to his leave that will culminate his retirement on 12th of January. And so we shall look at that, and that forms part of our topics for today. And so we have exciting things to look at today. My name is Mira Mugutu, and I'm glad you found time to be with us today. So joining me on the panel this morning is Douglas Kirimi from Meru. Douglas, good morning.
Good morning, Miriam. Good morning to all our crew at our headquarters in Nairobi, and good morning to my friend Songa in Nairobi, and all our viewers across the world.
All right, and we're also joined by Daniel Wasonga from Nairobi. Daniel, good morning.
It's a very good morning, Miriam Ogutu at our headquarters in Nairobi. Good morning to my good friend Douglas Kirimi Bundi in Meru, and our viewers there in Kenya, Africa, and the rest of the world. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever they are watching us from.
Mm-hmm. All right, very well. And our other panelist, Govn, will be joining us soon. And so we'll just start, and we shall start with, let's leave the succession plot there. That is on the front pages of the Star, because we shall come to that just shortly. But also, I think that is what is on the headlines there for on the Daily Nation. But there's something here I'd like for us to talk about. And we also have a BBI over here, which we also have as part of the topics we shall look at. But there's a story here yesterday on page 3 of the Standard newspaper. Before we get into the topics, post-election violence rape victims get 16 million Kenya shillings payment for victims of sexual and gender-based violence during the 2007-2008 election. Violence have been awarded 16 million Kenya shillings. It was sweet victory for the 4 women after waiting 13 years to get justice for the humiliation they faced at the hands of uniformed police officers who raped and assaulted them during the chaos that followed the disputed presidential election. Weldon Korir ruled that government failed citizens by not taking measures to protect them during the violence that rocked the country and which resulted in violation of the victims' rights, injuries to their bodies, and psychological torture. And we know a lot of such cases were reported across the country during that time. And when I was watching that news yesterday, as much as it is a sweet victory, but also you can't imagine what these victims have been going through, and others who have not come out to report or who may not even be able to be compensated. So when I was watching this news item, what I was thinking about is, okay, will this now encourage more people to come out and seek for compensation who were, either they were raped or they lost their properties, or the people who have never been compensated, basically? Will this now encourage more people to come out and try to seek for justice there, Daniel?
Miriam, when you recite our national anthem, there is a very, very important aspect of it, which talks about justice being our shield and defender. And I believe without healing, without compensation, without the perpetrators being brought to book, there can be no justice and there can be no healing for the victims of the post-election violence. So I believe this is one step in the right direction. And also, we expect that more and more victims will be able to come up and get compensated as well. We expect that we will start having a conversation to ensure that the perpetrators of those heinous acts are brought to book. Remember, we had a case at the ICC where some individuals were wrongfully prosecuted with falsified evidences, while the real perpetrators of these heinous crimes walked away scot-free. So I believe as a country, we need to really set a precedence where never again shall we have these acts, such ethnic animosities happening in any general election. And I believe President Uhuru Kenyatta and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga really captured these quite well in the BBI, because, BBI is talking about the redemption strategy. When you talk about the redemption strategy, we are moving away from the earlier perennial habit that we had, that we always have to go to fighting whenever we have a general election, and we are moving to we are turning to a new leaf where we do have a situation where a Kenyan can go vote, go home, relax, wait for the results, and then when the results come out, they are so much assured that they will be represented in every level of government, and therefore there's no need of fighting. So I think, Miriam, this is a thing. This is something that needs a very structured, procedural process to ensure that our country experiences peace with or without elections. Because as a country, we have been always been held in the dragnet of closing down businesses, schools, everything, every single activity, whenever we are a few months to the election, so that we campaign, we vote, and then after voting, now violence also cripples in. So that is something that we need to move away. And for that, when we start making peace with our bad history that has blighted the conscience of our nation, I believe that is the right step in the right direction. And I hope more and more measures are going to be brought into place, first of all, to ensure that the victims heal, that the victims get their justice, and nonetheless, the country is mitigated against unwarranted ethnic animosities and violence every electioneering cycle.
All right, and Douglas, we know that recently, after some victims of that post-election violence, were hosted at the DCI, and they're saying, some of them are saying we are getting renewed threats, and others, their case were never tried, even 13 years later. So they were here trying to find justice and trying to see if the government can address the current threats that they're experiencing from wherever they are. And we know President Uhuru Kenyatta came out very strongly about this matter, and said, we cannot play with things like this. These are things we shouldn't. DCI should not, he did not tell him not to do his job, because if Kenyans wants to go there and report and say we are unsafe and all that, I think it is within their rights in the Constitution to do that. But President Uhuru Kenyatta said we have to be very careful in how we handle these matters, and I totally agree with him. And perhaps, I don't know, we should let the sleeping dogs lie. I'm not sure, because these are people who 13 years later, they're getting justice, and I know there are scores of other Kenyans who are still waiting for that day. They may not get that dead relative back, that dead husband back, that dead son back, that dead mother back, but they want to see some sort of justice being, rewarded to them from what they suffered during that time. So even as these post-election violence victims got compensated yesterday, are we likely to see more people coming out and saying, hey, I also suffered, I also lost everything that had worked for all of my life, so are we likely to see more people come out and try to seek for compensation and justice, or we should just let the sleeping dogs lie? Because clearly this is something a conversation that is not going away.
Thank you, Miriam, and thank you for that good question. The President of the Republic of Kenya, President Uhuru Kenyatta, or any other president that was or will come, because the president is the first president to implement this constitution, there is no article in the constitution that says the President of the Republic of Kenya can wake up and subvert justice for the millions of Kenyans when their justice is their lives are put at threat, when they are threatened with death, or when they are killed. The President of the Republic of Kenya addressed the politicians, and from that day, no politician called a press conference, because the president was furious that the political rhetoric had taken a new twist, and the people of Kenya were stopped from airing their views and also giving their statement at DCI. When you look at the constitution that is the guiding tool to the presidency of President Uhuru Kenyatta, and also his observance to the rule of law, there is nowhere he mentioned that these victims should just sleep and forget about it. And we remember, Miriam, the only thing the government of the day, or even a government in future, can do is to frustrate these processes, but they cannot be able to stop that, because remember, there are cases in ICC. The prosecutor said that they are going to revive those cases when new evidence comes along, so that people can find closure, and those people, if they are found guilty, they shall be jailed, so that the people of Kenya shall be able to get justice, Miriam, and also the people who themselves committed those crimes, so that they can find closure in their jails, in their jail terms, and also come back as renewed Kenyans, and also people who have been forgiven publicly by Kenyans. But Miriam, remember, at this point in time, Kenyans were told by the DCI, who is an independent institution in our constitution, that they should come out, give out their view, their statements, and tell the DCI, so that one of the core mandates of the DCI is to deter a crime from happening, so that these people shall not be killed, Miriam. And back to the president's statement, the president never, ever spoke about the victims and their threats and anything. He spoke about the politicians, Miriam. That was a political statement directed to the political class. We do not subscribe to those people who said the president said that the people who didn't receive justice or closure from the post-election violence should just stay at home and forget about it. The President of the Republic of Kenya has a duty to protect and also to make sure that the people of Kenya enjoy peace and also are united. One of the things that the president addressed that day, and that we have seen die a natural death, is the political rhetoric. We saw every politician from oceans of life. They woke up calling for press conferences and all that. And after the president spoke, they went. They were never heard again. If the president meant that the victims should not even be compensated, the ones that we are reading from newspapers, the state agencies should have intercepted that compensation and stopped it, because more Kenyans are going to come out, Miriam. And I'm urging Kenyans, wherever they are, if you are a victim of post-election violence, please seek for compensation Government give rent and also give compensation to some people. Don't be left behind. And if new threats come your way, there is an independent institution, independent of any political rhetoric from your area. Go there and record those statements so that people will be able to be protected by this government. And President Uhuru Kenyatta is committed to protecting Kenyans, especially those that want to be denied the opportunity to be Kenyans, and also Miriam to exercise their democratic right and also sovereign right to be Kenyans. Another thing, Miriam, that I also observe from this whole thing is that more Kenyans will come out and more Kenyans are going to receive justice. And also, Miriam, the President of the Republic of Kenya, was at one time at ICC accused wrongly of being involved in the post-election violence. So he understands the pain of being of the people of Kenya being chased away from their houses, their animals taken. Imagine someone has milked a cow today that doesn't belong to him. Someone today has woken in a land that doesn't belong to them. So as a people of this country, we need to be able to move forward, and our cohesion and integration as a people means that we can be able to get to let each other enjoy their space as Kenyans, because this country belongs to all of us. We are equal in this country, except for titles and other things. We are equal as citizens of this country. We are a democratic republic, and if anyone today comes in my house and threatens me, I have a right to go to the police station and report my case, or even go to the nearest DCI office. Okay. Because Miriam, in this country, we cannot continue hiding because some politicians and some political elements have denied us opportunity for justice. In this country, Miriam, we need to be able to move forward, and especially those that cases are being mentioned every day at ICC. They also need to compel the prosecutor to prosecute them if she has new evidence, so that they cannot be threatened every day. If they are guilty, they should be jailed immediately. If they are not, they should be cleared so that they can be able to move on, their families move on, and even as a country move on, so that we don't want to be threatened by ICC every day. We want to jail some people. We want to do what they should be released and get home. And if they are guilty, Miriam, they should be jailed.
Okay. Thank you so much. A couple of images there, quite disturbing. This is a story I really don't like talking about. And, you know, we've seen images there that really is a reminder of a very dark place we were as a country a couple of years ago that still, I'm sure, are quite disturbing to a lot of Kenyans, myself included. Matter of fact, if I could not talk about this, you know, story another time, I think that would be nice. But unfortunately, this is something that we have to continue talking about. And what really perhaps upsets me is these women that were compensated yesterday, they were raped by uniformed police officers, and these are the people that were supposed to be protecting them. I cannot even wrap my mind around it. Perhaps you saw the police come in and you thought, wow, I'll be protected, you know. This should be a symbol of protection. This should be a symbol of you are okay. This should be a symbol of law and order. But these women that were compensated yesterday, they were compensated because uniformed police officers are the ones who raped them. That really, really upsets me this morning. Govn.
Thank you very much, Miriam. And you have said that these are conversations that is quite uncomfortable. But as Kenyans, we must learn to be comfortable discussing these uncomfortable things. Because, Miriam, if we fail to do that, maybe in future we might have a scenario where these things might recapture and repeat themselves. And that is not the direction that we want to take this country. You have said something that is quite disturbing even to the ears of many Kenyans, and that is how the police neglected their duties and they subjected Kenyans to misfortunes, to suffering, and to intimidation, to a point of where they raped these women. And that is something that is quite bad. And I feel these law officers who are culpable, because, Miriam, I feel like we have intelligence in this country who can work into speed and to bring those police officers into book, then that is what they should do, because these people need to suffer in prison or they need to be punished so that they deter others from committing such kind of crimes. And Miriam, I don't know why we have a tendency when we have violence, when we have wars around, not only in Kenya but around the world, we have these cases of rape. And I think it's a tool that is used for intimidation, because there's something, Miriam, even if your property is gone, you might go and buy a new property, and with time you might tend even to forget the other property. But this thing of rape is something that you live with it for the whole of your life. Miriam, for the case, in case you are raped and you are infected with HIV/AIDS, this is something that every day you take these drugs, you'll be reminded of the bad days. If you get a kid through that kind of encounter, you'll continue seeing this kid grow, and that's something that will not heal completely. Therefore, this is something that the police officers and anybody else who are capable to bring that kind of suffering to our women, they should go into jail. And we also saw the kind of suffering that these people got. When you see your property being destroyed, when you see people being killed, these kind of images, Miriam, they bring kind of emotional distress. And I feel even if they are going to be compensated, that level of emotional distress should be put into consideration. They need to have some compensatory damages for the kind of emotional distress that they went through, apart from the physical material compensation. And we see, like in that kind of a case, if we keep quiet, Miriam, and these women don't come and face the accusers in a court of law, they don't come out and speak, then these things will not end. And I feel these are very good gesture. We keep on talking these things, and the government should also create a remembrance, Miriam. We should have a day, because we remember the mashujas of this country. We should also have a day where we remember these misfortunes, so that we learn that these things are not good, where Kenyans will be reminded that this is what happened because of carelessness of our leaders, because of carelessness of using tribal as a tool of violence. That is something that we must look into. As we celebrate Jamhuri Day, Miriam, these things that need to be a conversation, because tomorrow is a national day. We need to bring these things on book. And we should have a day there in air between the year where we will remember these things, so that we talk about it openly without fear, and to a point where those people who felt that they were the culprits, they will come out openly and seek for forgiveness, because I think that is the first step of healing. So that after that, Miriam, we compensate these things, but those people who are capable for doing those, bringing them those misfortunes, they are still walking scot-free. We need to have a conversation around these things, and let's talk about it openly, and the investigative agencies should bring everybody who was involved into a court of law, so that we in future as a country will not go there and suffer the same consequences.
All right, thank you so much. A very interesting suggestion there, Govn, that you've made, that we should have a national, I think, Remembrance Day, honoring the people who, in memory of the people who died and what our country went through, and also to act as a reminder, especially to our political class there, our political leaders, to know that what they say out there matter. When they're in public, whatever they utter from their mouth, there are people who take it literally, and it's very dangerous. So every time they think about saying something, they should remember what the country went through during that time. And so let's just leave that story and go to page 2 of the Standard newspaper. MPs have 1 year to refund 2.7 billion illegal allowances. Now, members of parliament must refund more than 2.7 billion they illegally allocated themselves for house allowances. The High Court has ordered the Parliamentary Service Commission to recover the money in 1 year. Justice Pauline Nyamoya, Weldon Korir, and John Mativo yesterday found that the commission had no powers to allocate 250,000 monthly Kenya shillings monthly to every MP and backdate it to 2018 without the authority. I don't even know what is upsetting to me, that or this one now. It's like you have thugs in that parliament. Daniel.
Miriam, I think that is a very, very good, nice ruling, and it goes down deep to save the monies of the Kenyan people, which have been used wrongfully by the lawmakers. And of course, for a very long time, the parliament has been seen as a house of those who only seek to enrich themselves, in as much as they should be the people who are advocating for more and better policies and laws that benefit the common man. But once they reach into parliament, and you understand that, Miriam, it's a very, very well-known tradition in Kenya that at the beginning of every election cycle, we will state the salary, a certain, we shall set a certain flat rate salary for our members of parliament. But whenever they go into the house, they start making laws that really enrich themselves, that increase their salaries, that increase their perks. and they end up earning more than even the people anticipated that they will be remunerated for the work done. So I think that is something. Let that money be returned back to the people so that it can be channeled to the rightful project, to the rightful activities. And especially this moment when you're having a pandemic, I think the country's budget is really overwhelmed. Remember, we are having a crisis with the doctors. We are having a crisis with our schools, schools which are yet to open fully next year. And everything in the economy is not well. So I believe that is some good amount of money. If it is rechanneled back into our economy, it will be able to sort one or two things for the government. And that is my take, and I believe it's a good take. And yeah, that is what we should do, because at the end of the day, the MPs, these are people who are earning a good salary, they have a good perks, and also a majority of them actually, they are not doing much on the ground in terms of utilizing the CDF kitty. Many of them, like Moses Kuria, have been accused of looting money which are meant for the people. So let them give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and to God what belongs to God.
All right. Douglas, how is it in a country that we are a third world country, and how can we afford 250,000 monthly rent allowance to our members of parliament? How is this even possible? How has this been happening?
Miriam, I think one of the most overrated parliaments in the world is the Parliament of Kenya. After every new term, we have a crop of leaders who would just come and just vote for their salary increases and all that. We need to be able to streamline that and also take away the salary, the rent allowance for them. They have a basic pay. They need to be paid with that basic pay, because every Kenyan is paid as a basic pay. They need to stick to that. And also the mileage that we pay every time. We saw the women rep for Bomet, if I'm not wrong, was moving around and she claimed a lot of money from government, but she was called to order and that was never repeated. But I think it is a practice that was in place. People have been doing that and asking for mileage for places they have not gone. And also our members of parliament should also reconsider their salaries. Their salaries should be stressed. And also Miriam made sure that in future they are not going to increase their salaries again, so that when a member of parliament is running for MP seat, they will know that when they are running for member of parliament, they are going to pick 300,000 or 200,000, which is also a lot of money, and go home, so that we can be able to build Kenya, save money, and be able to equip our hospitals with the medicine, build classes for our children, and all that, Miriam. We cannot maintain a few citizens of this country who are also good citizens because they also make laws for this nation, but at an expense of our children, our sick people, our population who are poor, who needs development projects, Miriam. And also especially if President Uhuru Kenyatta woke up today and said that he's been saving money from MP salaries and senators and governors, so that they can build another floating bridge like the one that at Likoni. Kenyans would be very happy, Miriam, because these people are being fed by a section of Kenyans are being fed by our taxes. We had the members from Tangatanga function of Jubilee government say every year we raise about 50 million to be able to take care of one MP, their workers, their drivers, their secretaries, and all that. That is a lot of money, Miriam, that can also be stretched and also be taken to other meaningful ventures in this country, so that we can be able to move forward as a country. And for us to be able to grow, and for progress of Kenya, and for a better tomorrow, the salaries of the MPs should be capped.
Okay. And so Attorney General Kihara Kariuki, in his response, told the court that it was illegal for members of parliament to get an additional 250,000 Kenya shillings each for house allowance, as PSC never consulted SRC, and the money was not approved. Now the AG, SRC, Law Society of Kenya, and activist Okia Omtata had urged the court to force PSC to deduct the amount from the MP salary and return it to the Treasury. The case was filed by SRC, and it argued that MPs receive 40% of their gross salaries as consolidated allowances, and which cater for all the allowances they are entitled to. I've never seen such a bunch of, would I call them spoiled politicians across the world, like we have in our Kenyan parliament, or or politicians?
Yeah, Miriam, we have a country where we feel like, we have made this, the politics of this nation to be the best venture after opening a church. Church is the second most promising business in the country after politics. And this is because of the good fortunes. It's because of the laxity that comes with this kind of politics, because you have made it to be the best. And that is why everybody, they struggle to be corrupt. They struggle to steal from the government so that they can have enough money to corrupt the minds of Kenyans, so that they can get re-elected into these parliaments, because that is where you get the best money, and to a point without even accounting how you are using it. And that is a very unfortunate thing that we are suffering in this nation. And as I time, Miriam, we empowered our institutions like the EACC, the DPP, and so on, those investigative agencies that deals with corruption. They should be empowered so that in future we avoid a country where members of parliament, they just go there for the sake of siphoning money from the government instead of delivering service to the people of Kenya. And number two, as Douglas was saying, we need also to cap the salaries that the members of parliament get, or these elective members get, so that at the end of the day, we avoid having these members, anybody running for these offices. Because Miriam, if we make them get a lower amount, you'll see more Kenyans not going there, and instead they will focus more on the corporate world or in the private businesses, because maybe that is where we have big money. Because at the end of the day, most of them go there not only because they have leadership, but because of the good things that comes with those positions. And I think that was a very good move, because at the end of the day, what the court gave yesterday, this money should be recovered, because these people are giving them, they are using this money, taxpayers' money, in dubious means. Because when you use it to pay your rent, and you are already well off in society, you're a person who can buy a house and you manage it and you everything else, then that is equal to corruption, is equal for stealing from Kenyans. And thanks to our court that we have at least court that is trying to deliver justice to the people of Kenya. And you have seen that these people, we should have a law that try to govern how these people go there and pass these legislative laws that only benefits them instead of benefiting the common Kenyans. And also to the Kenyans, we should also make sure that when we go to the ballot, we should not look it as a means of electing just a democratic right, but as an opportunity to rectify and to bring development, because that is where we have good roads, that is where we have good hospitals. But for us, we have a problem in the elective leaders and those people who vote. We have a common denominator. We have a problem, all of us, and we need also to reflect on that, and we change how we do our things. Because Miriam, if we had a society that is well upright, that is a society that is quite aware and of what they need and what their rights are, Miriam, these kind of things could not be happening, because we could have seen Kenyans go out there in streets, petition, and make their grievances heard. And these members of parliament could even be in fear to do and to pass laws that will benefit them, and rather they would concentrate more on bringing development. Therefore, these members of parliament, and I think it's just a matter of time, we head to 2022, where most of them will not be elected. But when we elect others, let's also make sure that we get, at least we try to get people who can go there to bring services to us, but not to enrich themselves.
All right, thank you. And a letter in court revealed that some legislators take home an extra 3 million Kenya shillings per month. Yes, digest that. Now, this is morally wrong and unacceptable. This makes our parliamentarians the highest paid employees in the world. They are also paid more than the presidents of Kenya and the US. The letter, written by former Makadara MP Benson Mutura, reads. Yeah. Okay, so now let's turn to our attention to our topics of the day. We were just looking at some of the news there that are important and might not have been captured here, because everything else I see on the headlines there is what we have in store today. And we know that Maraga is leaving today. So on the front pages of the Daily Nation, here they say, end of bold but troubled tenure, mixed fortunes. He made history by nullifying results of 2017 presidential elections, but his term had its share of problems, with the judiciary starved of cash and refusal by president to appoint judges, turning the CJ into a constant complainer. And before we get into this story, let's watch a speech by the retiring Chief Justice David Maraga I think a couple of days ago, and that could be one of his last speeches as the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya. And let's see what he had to say.
Kwao kila mmoja wenu, and which is good because you want your people to be served near. Look at the budget of the judiciary. Understand that the judiciary is an arm of government. It's not a department. It is not taking too much money as budget. We are not asking for the budget of the judiciary to be equivalent with that of Ministry of Health, for example. We are not mad. We know the Ministry of Health requires a lot more resources. The Ministry of Education requires a lot more resources. But then you must understand that the judiciary is not a department. It is an arm of government, and give it. Wakati mnajipatia your budget, Mheshimiwa Kong, wakati mnaangalia budget yenu, wacha niachie hapo. Patia judiciary enough budget so that it can operate properly and serve your people as we have served. Because of this, in fact, the MPs who have asked for courts to be opened in their areas, and in consultation with the judiciary leadership, tumeanzisha makoti mingi sana. Not the high court, the magistrates courts, in quite a number of them. In here, about 21. We just started recently. The latest is Kabiet, Maraga, Ikima, and Kiptumu, which is in Alidai. Those people were pressing that I go there and I officially open them, but the time can't allow. But I'm happy to say that we have already gazetted them, and they will go on and have magistrates. What I'm saying is that we have a lot of pressure to have courts in other areas so that wananchi waweze kusaidiwa. Na mheshimiwa vile nilisema, give us 5 billion shillings a year for construction. We don't need much money. The building vote. Ask the chief registrar. Give us 5 to 10 billion shillings a year, and give us 10 years. We will give you courts all over the country. All over the country. And your people will be served well. That's my plea to you. It is you who will decide what you want to do. Koti kama hii sasa italeta maendeleo hapa, sababu wakili hawa wakikuja hapa si watakula kabla wajarudi Kisii.
All right, very well. That is the outgoing Chief Justice David Maraga, and today marks his last day as in office as the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya. Daniel Maraga, they are saying, CJ Maraga, they are saying that judiciary is an arm of the government, not a department.
Yes, Miriam, and that is what he ought to have understood, that the judiciary is an arm of government and not a department, because all in his tenure, Miriam, this is the Chief Justice who has been sabotaging the presidency, which is the strongest arm of government. We have to the judiciary, the legislature, and now the executive. And he has been not working in coordination. And you understand, Miriam, we only have one president at a time. We can never have two presidents, or we can never have another center of power. So Maraga has really been misled by whichever forces, be outside forces, or maybe the political class inside this country, which are not in good terms with the president. And I have no nice word to describe his tenure. I believe he has been the most lethargic, incompetent, incompatible, and the most winning Chief Justice. A Chief Justice who could not just sought a simple measure and assignment, like moving the courts from the physical to the digital platform, but was too quick to cry over Mercedes-Benz and S-Class Mercedes-Benz. So I think he had his priorities wrong, and he really lowered the bar of the judiciary. Actually, he's going to leave the judiciary in terms of performance and in terms of competence a step lower than where Justice Willie Mutunga left it. And therefore, the person who is coming to take after Maraga will have even a more extra job to do, because all this time, Justice Maraga has been just meandering and doing a lot of conflict instigation between him and the executive. So I see himself as a man who has really rocked the boat of the judicial system. He has not created the goodwill between the executive and the judiciary. And therefore, that has had a very, very bad implication on the side of our justice system. You remember, the president refused to assent to the 41 judges which Maraga had presented to him to do so, because most of them had been implicated in gross corruption scandals and gross matters of integrity. So I think Miriam is a man who has done more damage to our judicial system more than any other. His sentence, as I said today in the morning, was a blunder, a very extravagant blunder to this country, and we should not at any particular point get a Chief Justice who is an activist, a Chief Justice who sides with the political class and other outside forces to really hinder and impede the government of the day. We need a Chief Justice who can work hand in hand with the executive so that at the end of the day, we deliver justice to the people of Kenya. We've had in history such Chief Justices who worked, like Evans Gisheru, who worked with the government of the day in a very good term, President Mwai Kibaki. And at that time, Kenyans were able to receive timely and quite an effective system of justice. So to me, Maraga has not met the expectations of Kenyans. He was earning a salary for a job not well done. And for that reason, I don't have any good words to tell him other than to say, fare thee well, Justice Maraga. At least now we shall have peace in our media stations. We shall not have a Chief Justice who is a crybaby, always calling for pressers to bash and cry about the executive.
Govn.
Thank you very much, Miriam. And this is a very good day for the people of who feel like the Chief Justice was not performing to his duty. And there's also a very day for those. There's a moody day for those who feel like the Chief Justice was too good to this country and did his good job diligently. And Miriam, on my take, I feel like we must, as the Chief Justice saying, we must have a very distinguishing factors between, a line should be drawn between the executive, judiciary, and the legislative arm of the government. And they should run independently. And even in our constitution, we see judiciary as one of as a powerful arm of the government, because they are the custodian of the constitution. They are there to interpret a law, to make us Kenyans understand what is really going, and they are there to deliver justice and to make sure that the rule of law is observed. Therefore, is a very important arm. And when it happens to be run by an incapable person, then Kenyans will suffer a lot. And we have seen Chief Justice David Maraga, when he assumed the office, he really gave hope to this nation. And to a point, people said, now is the day. We have gotten what we have been waiting for quite a period of time in the helms of judiciary. And he came up with more promises, good words. But Miriam, at the end of it all, after the nullification for me of the 2017 presidential election, I think that is where he got a very, the reception with the executive was not quite welcoming. And that is how they started crashing with the executive, to a point where he started now demanding. And he thought, I don't know what was his expectation after the nullification of the presidential election, but after re-election of the Jubilee government, now he started to bring a sense of intimidation. He started portraying the executive and the government of the day as people who are not respecting the judiciary, as people who are not observing the laws. He started bringing judges who are incompetent to be appended to be leaders of our courts. And the president, in his capacity and prudence understanding, didn't append his signature for these people to get duties into our courts. Therefore, we have seen a Chief Justice who have been more, and I think from his background of activism, we have seen him coming up with quite, and he was not able to distinguish. For me, he was quite more in the politics of the day, and to a point he was overwhelmed by what was happening in the political arena, and he was tempted to side with which he thought was the right team and which he thought was good for him, and that is something that we don't want going in future. We need a Chief Justice who will be solely focused to ensure that justice in this country is done. Judges are doing their job in an organized manner, and a Chief Justice who is not siding with any political divide, because when they do that, the other divide tends to undermine it. They tend to not to obey what they say, because at the end of the day, they might think they are being used by their competitors to bring that kind of intimidation. Therefore, we need to have, and moving on, we need the Chief Justice will resume duties. I hope he or she will be a person who will try to bring into speed what maybe Chief Justice Maraga didn't achieve in his tenure, and from the onset of this constitution, David, the former CJ.
Okay.
So that we move on well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Evan. Thank you, Douglas. If you were to remember Chief Justice David Maraga for one thing or change he brought into the Kenyan judiciary, what would that one thing be?
I remember him for construction of some small rock courts here and there. But one of my greatest regrets about Chief Justice David Maraga is that more poor people are being jailed every day, and the big fish, including his deputy, DCJ Uhuru, is walking free today in all manner of corruption cases, and that paints the picture of the Chief Justice, who is an elder and also a man that has also christened himself as a man of integrity. He cannot be walking around as a man of integrity while he has not facilitated the proper prosecution of the DCJ Uhuru, who has a battery of lawyers, and there's so many millions of Kenyans who are rotting in jail because of petty offenses. He should have forgiven them and also ordered the judiciary to forgive petty offenders so that he can jail the big fish in this country. Miriam, corruption has been one of the things that has stolen from the Kenyan economy billions of shillings, hundreds of billions of shillings. And David Maraga, as the Chief Justice, has done little to be able to jail these people, including the most corrupted DCJ in Kenya's history, DCJ Uhuru. And that crowns my remembrance of him, where he's constructed a few courtrooms around the country. And also, it is part of his work at Judiciary. If he didn't construct those courthouses, we should have prosecuted him of corruption. But since he has built a few of them, I congratulate him. But the most pressing issue that bothers my heart is that when John Waruke was thrown into jail, he said he has met a lot of young people and women who are in prison, that they did not commit any offense and they are wrongly accused. We have people in this country, even who support David Maraga today, people who have stolen money from this country, Miriam. They are known thieves who plunder our resources and natural resources and also our economy. When money are allocated for development, they steal money, and the only thing they do is to go to SDA churches where Maraga is an elder, go to Catholic Church where I'm a member, go to PCA and every church and donate those funds, and Maraga has done nothing about it. So it crowns every small positive thing I heard about him. And one of my greatest regrets, Miriam, is that the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya retires at a time when he has not jailed the DCJ herself, and also senior government officials who have stolen funds from Kenyans. And Miriam, remember, this country, it is in public domain, Miriam. Kenyans have always cried that the DCJ is not being prosecuted. And Maraga, as a statesman, as a church elder, and as a patriotic Kenyan, should have jailed DCJ for a good example, and also the big fish in government, Miriam. Because we've seen people in government who have used their surrogates to be able to steal from Kenyans, and the president can do nothing. When the president of the judiciary cannot do anything to tell the judges and all that. Remember, we have good judges in judiciary. I also recommend his judges because they're also part of his team, like Douglas Ongoti of the Anti-Corruption Court, and also Judge Mumbi Ngugi, and also Musaga Mbogori. They are lawyers in this country. They are judges in this country who have done Kenya proud, who have done judiciary proud, and have also handed some accolades to Maraga as he goes home, like Douglas Ongoti, who is my namesake for Anti-Corruption Court. But for David Maraga, he should have set a good example. The way he nullified President Uhuru's Kenyatta election and put our country at a loss of billions of shillings, and he has not prosecuted those IEBC officials who messed up with the election. He should have jailed his deputy DCJ Uhuru Miriam, and also jailed those people who have stolen a lot of money from Kenyans. But I thank God that the BBI that Maraga is running away from and also telling Kenyans not to support has a timeline for crossing these cases, Miriam. In 2 years' time, Maraga will be shocked. All the people that he has not prosecuted, including DCJ Uhuru, will be in prison and will be serving their terms, Miriam, because they have stolen a lot of money and got involved in corrupt deals. Remember, DCJ Uhuru is the judge. A judge should be above, Caesar's wife should be above reproach. So we cannot have DCJ Uhuru running away. Today we are having an activist, Okio Mtata, trying to broker from assuming the office of the Chief Justice when Maraga retires. Miriam, at this point in time, and in our history, we should not have a Chief Justice who is corrupt, who wants to ascend to the highest office in judiciary, and they are corrupt. They have court cases and they are implicated in bad deals. So, Miriam, at this point in time, there are people in judiciary who have made Maraga proud as he goes home. All those corruption cases, Douglas Ongoti and Mumbi Ngugi and Musaga Mbogori and others, and David Majanja have been able to do and also prosecute. Are those cases that Miriam has put Maraga has put a smile and a proud face on Maraga's face, but he should have done more. I feel from my end, he should have jailed a few people, including the DCJ herself, who is very corrupt, Miriam. And as a Kenyan, I feel that David Maraga, the way he had portrayed himself, he has not performed to the par. The only regret I also have, another regret I have, is that he nullified an election and did not find anyone culpable of that election, because it is one election that has put him on an African and international pedestal. But again, at this point in time, he should have been able to do something on that, and he has not done. And that is why I have a problem with his hypocrisy. As he goes home, I wish him all the best, and may God bless his life.
Okay, God will bless his life. All right, and there's something that you mentioned. There's a story on page 4 of the Star newspaper. Succession intrigues rock judiciary as Maraga exits. A silent but stormy battle for the control of the Supreme Court has erupted as Chief Justice David Maraga leaves office on Friday, that is today. Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu is tipped to become acting CJ, but hours before Mwilu would make history as the country's first acting Chief Justice, activist Okia Omtata dashed to court seeking orders to block her from assuming the office. Omtata wants the court to bar the Judicial Service Commission from appointing Mwilu to act in the powerful office unless she is cleared of all the corruption allegations against her. She denies them all. It is both in the public interest and in the interest of justice that the DCJ is either cleared or condemned by the JSC, Omtata argued in court. It has emerged, however, that ahead of the 2020 general election, recruitment of Maraga's succession and replacement of Jecton Ojwang as the apex court judge is stirring interest from various actors. It is also given that the presidential polls will spill over to the Supreme Court for final determination. And on Thursday, Law Society of Kenya President Nelson Harvey told the Star that the deep state is determined to ensure Mwilu does not succeed Maraga. This deep state. Who are these people? And Omotata says the case is extremely urgent because Maraga is set to go on his terminal leave and Mwilu is set to assume office in acting capacity pending appointment of a new CJ. So there are a couple of issues there that Omotata is raising, saying you either don't have a case in court, you be cleared first before you become the acting Chief Justice. And I think that is only right, because you cannot be the head of the judiciary when you have a case, a corruption case, or whichever case looming on your head. And that should be common knowledge. Daniel.
Miriam, you've heard whatever my good friend Javan has said. You've heard whatever Douglas Kirimi has said. And we all come to a point of confluence that Justice David Maraga was quite incompetent and quite not someone who creates a very good working rapport with the executive. And therefore, to me, he was an evil that we had to persevere to live with. And when you look on the other side, Justice Philomena Mwilu is an evil that we should do at all costs to prevent from ascending to the top of the Supreme Court of Kenya. And if activist Sonko Mtata is in court today because he doesn't want Justice Philomena Mwilu to succeed Justice David Kenani Maraga, it is because he carries the interest of the Kenyan people at heart. And every Tom, Dick, and Harry in this country, Miriam, every Kenyan of all walks of life, we were here when we saw those court proceedings where Justice Philomena Mwilu was accused of various corruption allegations and other gross misconduct allegations. So to me, Miriam, if that deep state that Nelson Havi is talking about, if it can prevent Kenyans from landing yet into the hands of another competent, corrupt, and quite a lethargic Chief Justice in the name of Philomena Mwilu, so be it, because that will be what most of the Kenyans want. We want our courts to be the hallmark of justice. We want them to be a conduit of delivering an equitable society, not a breeding ground for corrupt judges, magistrates, and other court officials. Not what it is right now, where the hoi polloi can never be in a position to get justice, as Douglas has said. So to me, I think this is something of interest for the people of Kenya, and I believe for the very, very first time, I agree with Sonko Mtata that we should, at all costs, block the ascendance of Philomena Mwilu to become the next Chief Justice of this country, because her track record has been tainted, her image is in tatters, and she does not meet the threshold by whichever description, by whichever measurement. Okay. That is my take.
Thank you so much, Javan. Even as we close on this matter and move on to Governor Sonko's impeachment there, I mean, this is where Chapter 6 of our Kenyan Constitution comes in, leadership and integrity, and the case has been ongoing in the courts and also, you know, we've seen that happen. And Deputy CJ Mwilu is said to be the acting CJ until another CJ is able to be able to get another Chief Justice. But from the cases she's having right now, how is it possible that she even thinks she can head an institution that is already set to judge her, to look into the issues that is already there in court? It's not possible, surely. In which country is this even supposed to be possible?
You know, it is not even possible to have a person who is tainted, even to be even in the magistrate of the lowest court in this country, because that amounts to impunity, that amounts to incompetence, it amounts to unfairness and injustices. Therefore, today I agree with activist Sonko Mtata that Philomena Mwilu should be blocked from assuming office as an acting Chief Justice, because as it stands now, he has failed, because his image, his reputation in the public domain is not well. And Miriam, from the court of public domain, that is where all the precedents that are made in this country comes from. Because if you are not clean from the eyes of these peoples of this country, you assume not to be clean. Whether true or false, Miriam, this is something that negatively affects your character. And that is something that is really happening with Philomena Mwilu. And on this case, Philomena Mwilu, as a judge of the Supreme Court, as a DG, as a Deputy Chief Justice in this country, he is already incompetent to a matter that he has been made and mentioned in various corruption-related scandals, or in many injustices in the courts of this country. Therefore, from that kind of scenario, we agree that this judge should not be the acting Chief Justice, because he might go there, Miriam, and we know the power that the Supreme Court holds and the power that the Chief Justice holds. And in the case of the recruitment of the new Chief Justice, we don't know what he might earn on the process, and we might end up having a corrupt Chief Justice. And we know in the Supreme Court, that is where the presidential election, if you have you take your petition there, that is where the final determination comes from. And we want to have a clean Supreme Court, where even if we have a disputed presidential election, we will be sure of justice will be delivered to the people of Kenyans and to the wills of majority. We don't somebody will go there and start taking this country to a scenarios where it cannot remove itself, a scenarios where war and violence can erupt. That is the kind of thing that we need to avoid, and we can only avoid it by making sure not only Philomena Mwilu, but all judges in this country who have been mentioned in any corruption-related scandals or any form of injustice, they are not in service, and they should be taken to a court of law where they should also go into prison to serve a sentence, so that they deter others and they make Kenyans to have trust in the system that we have to guarantee us free social justices and all manner of injustice that we encounter that will be dealt with well.
Very well. Thank you so much. And that is that on that matter. And of course, a few names have been flaunted that are thought to be will be the right replacement of CJ David Maraga. So this is a conversation that we shall continue to have. Now let's just get into the other story that we have. We are looking at the week that was. And of course, the wars of Governor Mike Sonko, Nairobi governor, still continues there. And MCAs lay bare their charges against Sonko. That is on the front pages of the Star newspaper. Ember told Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko faces a myriad of accusations that could eject him from office and leave his political career crashed. In the allegations sent to the Senate, Nairobi MCAs accused Sonko of presiding over massive loss and theft of public funds amounting to 204.2 billion Kenya shillings and bloating the county's debt from 56 billion Kenya shillings in 2017 to 76.7 billion Kenya shillings last year. So let's watch a part of a proceeding in Parliament at the Senate yesterday, and this is what Speaker Lusaka had to say.
15, by flouting the principles of public finance management in as far as the public procurement of goods and services is concerned. F, the governor violated Section 35(4) and Section 45(1) of the County Government Act 2012 as read together with Section 104 and Section 148 of the PFM, whence between 2018 and early 2019, and contrary to the law, the office of the County Executive Committee member for Finance and that of the Chief Officer for Finance were held by the same person, one Ms. Winfred Gashagu, which situation occasioned confusion, inefficiencies as the County Treasury, hence failing to promote good governance at the County Treasury, failing to promote good governance and compromising the doctrine of transparency and accountability within the county government. The governor has violated the provisions of Section 104, the PFM, on the responsibilities and powers of the county treasury by his refusal to hand over the necessary documentation to enable Kenya Revenue Authority, KRA, to undertake optimum revenue collection under the transferred functions. The governor grossly violated Article 201 of the Constitution on the prudent use of financial resources and Section 159 of the Public Finance Management Act as read together with Section 7 of the Nairobi City County Tax Waivers Administration Act 2013 by unilaterally and arbitrarily issuing waivers in total disregard of the law. J, the governor has violated the provisions of Article 201D of the Constitution on principles that guide all aspects of public finance in the Republic, and 2271 on procurement of public goods and services and the provisions of the Public Procurement and Disposal Act 2015 by willfully interfering in the award of the tender for the construction of the Dandora Stadium as established by the PPRB, leading to loss of public funds in overseeing payments despite concerns by technical officers. K, the governor has violated the provisions of Article 201 of the Constitution and the Public Finance Management Act 2012 on principles that guide all aspects of prudent use of public finance, where either intentionally or negligently he presided over the massive loss and theft of county public funds in the 3 years he has been in office, as evidenced by the Auditor General's report of 2020-2019, which raised the red flag over cities told 204.2 million projects, as well as a failure by the county government to meet its revenue targets. The governor has violated the provisions of Article 5 of the Deed of Transfer of Functions by sabotaging the transfer of functions. The governor is yet to provide NMS with crucial information necessary in aiding and carrying out of the transferred functions. Come in. Take your seat, Senator Wako. Okay. B, abuse of office. The particulars cited under the ground are as follows. A, the governor has abused his office by violating Article 75 of the Constitution as read together with Section 2 and 13 of the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012 on the conduct of state officers, where the governor has persistently intimidated, harassed, molested officers of the county executive, including blackmailing his county executive committee members and chief officers with 1-year contracts, whose renewal he has undertaken arbitrarily, leaving the officers jittery about their employment and creating a climate of fear, uncertainty, and despondence. B, the governor has abused his office by violating Article 75 of the Constitution as read together with Section 16 of the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012 by unlawfully using public funds. Order, senators, you need to listen to the charges, because this is what we will have. And I want you to listen to this one. The governor has abused his office by violating Article 75 of the Constitution as read together with Section 16 of the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012 by unlawfully using public funds to pay for his daughter's travel to New York, USA, to allegedly attend the County First Ladies Conference held during the 62nd session of the Commission on the Status of Women in 2018. C, gross misconduct. The particulars under this charge are as follows. The governor has violated Article 73 of the Constitution by failing to promote public confidence in the integrity in the office of the governor following his being charged before the Anti-Corruption Court, thus prejudicing and or compromising the social contract and trust bestowed upon him by the people of Nairobi by virtue of Article 1 of the Constitution. B, the governor has violated Article 73 of the Constitution and Section 8 and 11 on the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012 on public trust and professionalism, where he is on record. I want you to listen to this, honorable senators. The governor has violated Article 73 of the Constitution and Section 8 and 11 on the Leadership and Integrity of Act 2012 on public trust and professionalism, where he is on record admitting that he was intoxicated and thus not in the right frame of mind when he signed the deed of transfer for the transfer of certain functions of the county to the national government in February 2020. Order, Senator Murkomen. Order, Senator Murkomen. C. Order. Okay, I proceed. C, the governor has violated Article 73 of the Constitution and the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012 on the responsibilities of leadership by failing to professionally perform his constitutionally sanctioned duties owing to his constant absence from office, even before he was formally restrained by the courts from assessing his office due to corruption charges, where the governor remained constantly unreachable in person or in his phone for inordinately longer periods of time, to the huge detriment of the performance of the functions of the executive. D, the governor has violated Article 75(1)(c) of the Constitution as read together with Section 2 of the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012 in respect of the conduct of the state officers by drawing a salary and hefty allowances and enjoying the privileges of the office he holds while failing to diligently report to work and being perennially absent even before he was formally restrained by the courts from accessing his office due to corruption charges. E, the governor has violated Section 8 of the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012 on public trust, where he has constantly used his position to abuse public trust in the county government by exercising the powers of his office in a manner detrimental to prudent public service delivery by persistently using use of divisive and becoming language which undermines the office he holds and the county administration. F, the governor has violated Article 73 and 75 of the Constitution on conduct of state officers that is demeaning to the office they hold, and Section 2 of the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012 by persistently and willfully using, publicizing and publishing abusive and unbecoming words and language as evidenced by his social media posts and numerous rants in which he has hurled abuses and conducted himself in a manner that undermines and demeans the office of the governor. D, crimes under national law. There are serious reasons to believe that the governor has committed crimes under national law, specifically the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act, which crimes he has been charged for in the Anti-Corruption Court. Honorable Senators, Standing Order number 75-1, B of the Senate Standing Orders gives the Senate the option of investigating this matter by appointment of a special committee comprising 11 members or in plenary. 10. The resolution of the Senate on the motion by the Senate Majority Leader in today's order paper will therefore determine the manner in which this matter shall henceforth proceed. It is not worth, and I wish to emphasize to all honorable senators that the debate on the motion shall be limited to the substance of the motion. It is not a motion on the propriety, prudence, or even the constitutionality or the legality of the processes that have preceded the submission of this matter to the Senate. It is not a debate on the facts of the matter or their merits. It is therefore not permissible to deviate to any other matter other than the motion before the Senate. Finally, honorable senators, the hearing of charges for the proposed removal of office of a governor is one of the most important.
That is the Speaker of Senate, Ken Lusaka, there in a session that happened, I think, on Wednesday there. The charges there being read, what the MCAs had said, amounted to the need for them to impeach, and why they impeached the governor of Nairobi, Mike Sonko. Of course, the Senate is set to listen to this case starting Wednesday next week. A couple of issues there that the MCAs have raised, and one of them is Governor Mike Sonko using a language that is unbecoming and does not bring in a manner that demeans the office that he holds. I think we all agree to that. He can't even get out of that because it's out there in public and in his social media and all that. And what really caught my attention there is Sonko is accused of harassing, intimidating, and molesting county officers and using City Hall cash to fly his daughter to New York, USA to attend County First Ladies Conference. His daughter, not his wife. I'll start with you, Douglas. These charges that were read out against Governor Mike Sonko, what do you make of them?
William, the charges that have been made against Sonko are charges that are right, and Sonko should have gone home. Actually, I forgot this week to remind President Uhuru Kenyatta not to save Sonko again, because after Sonko was saved by President the other day, we have seen Sonko return that favor of being saved from impeachment by President Uhuru Kenyatta by insulting him, insulting his family, and also insulting him every time he got a chance, and every time he came near a camera which are at his disposal, because Sonko will give them handouts and all that, so that they can propagate the messages that he has been able to send out to insult President Uhuru Kenyatta. So this impeachment is very candid, is very timely, and it should have happened a long time ago, except that President Uhuru Kenyatta thought that Sonko is going to redeem himself. At this point in time in history, we need to get rid of Governor Sonko of Nairobi so that he can go home in his Mua Hills, so that he can continue tending to his grandchildren, and also Sonko should also go back and also serve his time in prison, as he also awaits the 357 million scandal that he stole a lot of money from Nairobians, and also recover money. That money recovered, if it bought that money was used to buy cars and rent, that rent should be taken by Assets and Recovery Authority, and so that the people of Nairobi can find closure, Miriam. These MCAs who have raised those concerns that have gone up to Senate, the Senate President Ken Lusaka himself has read those charges, and also now determined that Sonko must face the Senate next week. As even if he says Senate, we wish him all the best as he goes about his business, because he cannot save himself from this, especially where Sonko has been stealing from the people of Nairobi. He can conduct himself the way he wants. It is up to him as a leader to decide on the way that he shall go. He decided long time ago, historically, Sonko is a very chaotic man, and also is a very insultive leader. That one we cannot change from him. He will be changed or reformed by prison at this point in time. At this time, we cannot advise Sonko on anything. We can only wish him all the best. And best of luck as he serves his prison term, Miriam. I have no kind words for Governor Sonko. We have seen how he has turned Nairobi into a den of thugs and criminals until cartels have taken over. Sonko chased the former cartels, and they brought his own cartels who have been able to defraud money that is in public domain, 357 million from Nairobi city coffers, and also other monies that are not investigated. And the Sonko has also abused his office thoroughly. We have seen Sonko turn Nairobi into his personal property. He did not inherit Nairobi City County from his parents. He needs to also respect the will of the people of Nairobi, also to be respected as a people. We've seen him rig conversations from his constituents and also other leaders. We've seen Governor Sonko record, including putting President Uhuru Kenyatta on speakerphone, so that the people of Nairobi cannot, which could have used other means to reach the president. He had decided to embarrass the president on speakerphone in a public meeting, so that the president of the Republic of Kenya will be embarrassed. So at this point in time, all those charges against Governor Sonko, there is nothing that is going to be substantiated by the Senate. Sonko is going home, and after he is impeached, Sonko will go to prison, and also monies that he has stolen, Miriam. We have no kind words for him. Sonko, DCJ Muiru, and all those people who have stolen in public domain, Miriam, we need to be able to send them to prison. And one of the regrets that I have again about these people who are also propagating for DCJ Muiru to continue holding that office, she cannot be able to succeed CJ Maraga. I cannot be able to pinpoint any corruption case against CJ Maraga, but he has entertained corrupt people like Sonko, DCJ Muiru, and others who have been holding high-profile offices in this country, Miriam. Because if a poor person in Meru can be jailed within 3 months after stealing a chicken, why is Sonko, after stealing 357 million, not in prison? Why is DCJ Muiru roaming around waiting to be a chief justice? So, Miriam, at this point in time, including those surrogates from William Ruto's side who have been used by William Ruto, they should mention him so that they will be jailed before 2022. Because, Miriam, at this point in time, we can no longer do activism with judiciary, and also these corruption cases that we have seen in GAF, including the governor of our city county. This is the capital city of this republic. This corruption, we cannot devolve it into other counties. We need to start with the Governor Sonko, impeach him and send him to prison. DCJ Muiru, as Maraga goes home, he should also give us a good package of sending his deputy to prison, so that, Miriam, in this country we can reform judiciary, reform Nairobi City County and NMS, and also, Miriam, those people who have said that Nairobi Metropolitan Services NMS is illegal under Sonko. It is Sonko who called for Nairobi Metropolitan to be brought by President.
Very well. Yes, and I'll come back to you. And now, one of the key things there, and I think through one of the clips there that I was playing there, reminded us that, Senate Speaker Kenneth Lusaka was one of the I think witnesses during the signing off, and no wonder he was reading that thing, and you could feel there's some interesting feeling around it. So maybe you should tell us, was Governor Sonko intoxicated as he claimed, because he was present that day? Was he Lusaka? Because when he was reading that, he even chuckled a little. So maybe he knows more because he was present during the signing off, when Sonko was signing off some of his responsibilities to NMS that he's now since lodged a war against. And one of the key things there that the MCAs of Nairobi saying is a problem with Sonko is, of course, that one. And he's the one who's been saying, that day I was intoxicated, I did not understand what I was signing. So they're saying, wait a minute, that means you were not fit. to govern. You are not fit to become the governor of this city. So now, in this case, Jevan Karanja, it is, I mean, everything you say will and shall be used against you. That is what is happening there for Governor Mike Sonko. So is he the author of all his problems, or some of it?
Yeah, Miriam, we must, and we have seen Mike Sonko, and I agree with the MCA what they're accusing him. He does not behave like a leader of the office that he is holding. He behaves like anybody else, a common man who does not know where he is heading to. And that's so unfortunate for a leader who has been elected with all those votes to start behaving and ruining his reputation in the public domain. We have seen him behave in a manner that suggests that he was not fit in the first place, even to be elected into that position. And that is something that as Kenyans also we must look into, to ensure that we vote leaders who are quite well in matters of ensuring that we vote people who can be able to govern and bring sanity into our institution of leadership. And something else, Miriam, he has also portrayed in his social media accounts where he uses a language that is not a filthy language to say that that language is not supposed to come from a leader of his status, especially a person who is governing the Nairobi City Council. And those behaviors of saying that, you know, he was sometimes back in JKL saying that they used to smoke some natural weeds with the former Kiambu governor, Ferdinand Waititu, in some places in the parliament. And you see this kind of revelations sets a picture of a man who is not culpable of even being near a public office. And something else, Miriam and the MCAs are right on this, is a kind of a corruption. And if he uses money to send his daughters and in a meeting of the women, and he, instead of the first lady of Nairobi going there to represent the county of Nairobi, he sends his daughter. That to itself amounts to corruption, and a man who also uses nepotism. And those are some of the factors. When you look at the factors that undermine national unity, corruption and the nepotism, they go hand in hand. And if that is the kind of thing that he is being accused for, I support the MCAs of Nairobi to send Sonko home, and I feel the Senate should also approve it, and he should also go there. And he also told us that he has a prison sentence that he has to finish. I think he should start there as he comes also to serve these other corruption-related cases in the prison, because that is where these people belong. And Miriam, also, we should also make the fight against corruption a reality, where anybody who has been found culpable of corruption scandals in this country, they should be aligned in a court of law to answer charges that relate to the same, and they should also suffer severe consequences. And that is the way it should happen, so that these people, at the end of the day, they should fear putting their hands in public money. And to Kenyans, next time when we vote, let's make sure that we don't elect the likes of Sonko and the Ferdinand Waititus of this country. At least let's go for decency, for at least the least we can go for it, even if it's not integrity and honesty.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daniel Wasonga. Everything you say will and shall be held against you. But Sonko, did he ever thought this will, whatever he says out there, will come back to bite him? Because that is what now they're using against him.
Miriam, Sonko's goose is cooked and his fate is airtight before the Senate. And from the address I've heard from Lusaka, it has sounded to me more going by its tone and drift as a neurology of a man who is on his deathbed in terms of his political career. And I really doubt if he's going to survive. Sonko has been one very crooked politician. He has not been straight, not even his fingers have been straight, because he has been accused of stealing over 357 million from the county coffers in the county of Nairobi. Sonko has been seen in all kind of drama, from fighting with the police, throwing stones like Waititu, insulting people and using all derogatory terms, even to our very own president. So to me, Miriam, I say this is what an Englishman say, that it is good riddance to bad rubbish. And for Nairobians, I believe when rather in computing world, we have an algorithm logic that goals that are garbage in, garbage out. So the Nairobians elected people, Governor Mike Sonko, someone who has a garbage truck mentality. And in retrospect, Nairobi became a dirty city, it became neglected, and that is what you get when you elect incompetent leaders, leaders who are not up to task, leaders who have some lacking character and integrity. So to me, I believe it's a feeling of reprieve, it's a feeling of joy for many Nairobians who have been working to pay taxes but have not been receiving essential services. It's a feeling of reprieve even for the Jubilee government itself, because he was elected on the Jubilee party ticket, and he ought to have made the party proud by working hand in hand with whatever President Uhuru Kenyatta is doing. You've seen the president launch so many projects even this week in cost, but in Nairobi, before President Uhuru intervened and came up with NMS, it had stagnated for so long. We had piles of garbage everywhere. Potholes were mushrooming in the city day in, day out. But soon after the NMS came in, the city started sprouting again, coming back to life. The roads were clean. The garbage was taken out of town. Water boreholes are being sunk in slum areas. The slum areas are being cleaned. Clinics are being revamped and equipped with the medicines, and more staff being employed. We are seeing even the NMS going out to offer services even in other neighboring counties like Kiambu and Machakos. Mm-hmm. So that is what the capital city should be. Nairobi is not just any other county. It is the capital city of this country. It is the doorway, the sitting room of Kenya. Like any visitor who comes in Kenya, first of all, lands in Nairobi, and whichever impression they get once they land in Nairobi, it is the impression they'll take outside there, and that has a lot in terms of counts a lot in terms of tourism, it counts in terms of investment, in terms even of our foreign policy. So if we neglect Nairobi, it will be akin to neglecting our own clothes, and that will not have been allowed to persist. So to me, Miriam, those allegations are quite true, a true reflection of Sonko, a vagabond, someone who really plays the politics of populism at the cost of the citizens of Nairobi, someone who has been dancing in the office while the people of Nairobi are in lack of medicine and medical care in various county-sponsored hospitals. So to me, I wish him well. Let him go what he does best, dancing and doing all the, putting on bling blings and all that. Mm-hmm. But Nairobi will be, at the end of the day, able to get a very competent governor, a governor who shall be able to spear ahead the Jubilee Party manifesto and be able to bring Nairobi to the podium of most fastest growing city, not only in Africa, but the globe as well. So that is my wish, and I believe the Senate is going to make a very sane decision and unanimously and resoundingly send Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko home.
All right, thank you so much, Daniel there, and Arthur, and the rest of you who are watching also, thank you so much that you're saying things fall apart. For sure, for Governor Mike Sonko. And Governor Mike Sonko, just a piece of advice, maybe don't bother. But next time you think about clicking that Facebook Live, button, you might want to think about the content you're putting out there, because see, now they're using it against you, and you cannot, under the Leadership and Integrity Act, very important there. Mushiri is saying, but his impeachment was done against an existing court order. Yes, that is also an issue that is there. Thank you so much for watching, and continue commenting there. I'll be going through some of your comments as we continue. So we jump to our next issue, and of course, on the week that was, we saw the BBI Secretariat handing over the signatures there to the IEBC, and the story is on the front pages of the Standard newspaper today. Man holding the BBI ball. Our terms, the constitutional change process is now in the court of the Electoral Commission, with its chair certainly issuing terms for a robust and quick clearance for the Building Bridges initiative. The story is on page 6 of today's Standard newspaper, and the Standard newspaper has been kind to outline some of the stages that are expected to be followed in this process that are remaining. And the first one, IEBC receives money, starts verification of 4.4 million signatures. Chebukati yesterday said we're broke, we need money. So once they receive the money, they'll start the process of verification. And the second stage is inspects bill, to ensure it matches one published before signatures were collected. That is also what the IEBC will be doing. And the third one, hands over the bill to the county assemblies, where 24 must approve. Remember the Punguza Mzigo? I think Uasin Gishu County was one of the counties that supported that bill. I don't know what they will do with the BBI this time. I think Kenyans will be watching to see if they will vote to support this or against it. And then the fourth stage, the bill then moves to the National Assembly for approval, and then IEBC formulates referendum question, and then IEBC plans and conducts the referendum vote. So we saw the signatures there were handed over, meaning that no changes are going to be affected in that document. And yesterday we had that conversation. I've not checked what the people who have not been in support of this, who have been seeking for consensus, especially our Deputy President William Ruto. I don't know what he has said. It's not in the paper, so I'm assuming he did not tweet something. I don't know if he's still calling for consensus or he's okay or which way forward. But at this point, that process of consensus and including and removing has been closed now that the signatures has been handed over to the IEBC. What do you make of this week's activities in line with the BBI a draft there, Douglas Akirimi?
Thank you, Miriam. The BBI process has reached a point where bringing the BBI report or the process is very impossible. And one of the things that has crowded that fact is that I have seen in one of the newspapers today, a few hours ago, like an hour ago, like yesterday night, members of parliament who are allied to Deputy President William Ruto are asking for prominent roles in BBI report, and others are also saying, in as much as they are supporting BBI 100%, they have been told by some quarters in the Deputy President camp that they should not support BBI 100% in the public domain. But they also want to come on board now and also be given roles that they have been despising, and also saying BBI is very premature and also BBI is a passing ground. At this point in time, when the signatures have gone there, I want to ask the Deputy President if he can ask for a quick press conference so that he can be able to ask the Right Honorable Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta to intervene at IEBC so that he can take his signature and that of his troops.
But
so that we can be able to
will be legal, but because they have been handed over already. He had time. If he wanted to append his signatures, I'm sure he would have, but maybe he's not for that. He would have, because that will be legal according to the laid procedure, Douglas, unless.
I know it is illegal, but we can amend that to include his signature, because we don't want to change constitution without his signature, because he's been fighting this process. We want to make sure that at the last moment he can be able to do that. But if it is illegal, I'm not a lawyer, Miriam. I studied business administration in school, so he has been crossed out there, and the history has not been kind to him because it will not record his name as one of those people who gave the youth a youth commission that we can decide on what to do with our youthful generation, which forms around 60 or 70% of our population. Is being crossed on a matter that should determine the future of this country in terms of cohesion and also peace in the country. And also the Deputy President has missed a constitutional moment for him to be able to take advantage of that. Just the way the crown around the Constitution of 2010 reckons him as a leader of opposition who called for a no campaign and also read a no campaign, is also going again to record him in a very bad light, Miriam. And also remember, he has ambitions, not like President Uhuru Kenyatta has no another ambition to be president again. But for Deputy President, it spells a doom for him. But I pray that going forward, he can now be able to come on board, and also he can be humble so that God can use him to be able to touch Kenyans so that we can be able to campaign for this process and also move forward as a nation, Miriam. At this point in time, for him continuing, I saw his tweet yesterday. He tweeted, like you said, he tweeted when he met Kisi leaders, and he sent a tweet and also spoke about a few things, but not directly to the BBI process.
So what did he say in the tweet? Did it have to touch with the BBI? Was he calling for consensus, because we know that is what he's been doing lately, or was it different?
Miriam, I cannot be able to pinpoint what he said 100%, but he spoke about something. But because I no longer follow him 100% when I found out he's not a very serious politician, especially on matters BBI. I didn't want to see his own statement according to that, but he met readers yesterday when others were taking signatures. He continued with this 2022 bid by meeting key readers and all that. But Miriam, at this point in time, what the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya can only do is that to sit down and also maybe come out and campaign for BBI 100%, because as you saw yesterday, Chebukati has received those signatures and there is no turning back. We are asking IEBC to continue now the verification process so that we can be able to move forward and change this constitution on 21st of June 2021. And also people like Deputy President to run a lesson that you cannot always oppose the people, including when you have a different opinion to those people. So Miriam, at this point in time, I feel that I'm happy that my voice has counted. My 2 signatures, the physical one and the digital signature, have counted. They have gone now to a verification process. They are going now to be verified, and I hope by the grace of God they'll be verified and found true, so that we can be able to change this constitution, Miriam, and also so that we can also tell the Deputy President that he cannot stop an idea whose time has come. Deputy President drives in chaos, he drives in paranoia and also selling fears to Kenyans. He can no longer sell fear to me. I took my 2 signatures with a sound mind so that I can be able to participate in this process that I didn't participate in 2010 in this constitution because I was in school. At this point in time, my name will be written in the annals of history as one of the young people who took this constitutional moment by hand, and also Miriam, I've been able to now read my voice to a constitutional moment. Thank you.
Now I understand why you're so excited about this. It will be your first time to vote to change the constitution. Oh, congratulations, Douglas. We're still waiting for the referendum. Okay.
Miriam, before you continue, I voted 2 times, 2013 and 2017. What I have never voted for is the constitution because I was in school and I didn't think it mattered that time.
It did. That's what I'm saying. I understand your excitement because it will be the first time you'll be taking part in a process to change the constitution in a country. Congratulations, Douglas. Now, Daniel.
Remember, William Ruto has never participated in changing or making a constitution. So I'm better than him in terms of this constitutional moment. I'm more patriotic than him.
You took your civil duty very seriously there. Thank you so much. Now, Daniel, I'm sure you've looked for us that your tweet by Deputy President yesterday. I should be more active on social media. It's not serving me very well, and I don't know what you make of the process up to yesterday, handing over the signatures there to the IEBC, the BBI process so far. What do you make of the events that have been developing so far?
Miriam, as far as BBI is concerned and its proponents are concerned, it's so much on course. The schedule is out there and they are within the time frames. And I believe at the end of it all, the BBI agenda will be achieved. They have been so consistent. A lot of resources have been marshaled and a lot of people have gone out of means to ensure that the BBI becomes a success. Including even a majority of people who support the president and the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. And as for the other side, Miriam, I believe they are trying also as much as possible to build a force that will be able to oppose the constitutional amendment. Of course, that is not something that is strange to them. They have been opposing constitutional amendments since 2005. They have opposed in 2010, and therefore, I believe there is nothing which will be able to persuade them to change heart and be able to drum their support behind the BBI. But be as it may be, Miriam, I believe the BBI process is a people-driven process. It's a process that really hopes to bring the redemption strategy to this country. It's a process of healing from the previous and chaotic presidential elections that we've always had, which have always pitted Kenyans against each other in very, very violent confrontations. It is a process that that aims at elevating Kenyans from poverty, a majority of them, by giving them opportunity to do business and start entrepreneurial adventures in a very, very ample and sane, secure environment. It is a process that really aims at strengthening our ethnic, our religious, and our political virtues as a people, and also be able to bequeath this country a very able leaders by standard, by education, by virtue. So to me, I believe that the BBI has all the strong tenets that any constitutional amendment push will have to meet that threshold to be passed unanimously. And therefore, it is within my strongest belief that BBI is going to sail through, and it will be a very massive vote, Miriam. You can take that to the bank and it will earn you interest. Okay. So, in as much as we prepare to go to the next stage, we also allow the other guys to master their own forces, but let them know, be aware of that particular fact that the BBI is a people-driven process, and the people of Kenya are very ripe for this constitutional change, and it will pass with a very massive vote. That is what I make out of it, Miriam. And the journey is on. No one will be able to deter it. And as the former Prime Minister always says, reggae, nobody can stop reggae. That is it, Miriam.
Bishop Oginda alisema mwache maneno ya hiyo reggae. Alafu the other side wachana maneno ya Hustler Nation. All right, thank you so much. Karanja, Douglas voted twice, virtually and also physically. I don't know what she did, but what do you make up of this process up to yesterday when these signatures were handed over to IEBC now to start the next phase of the process?
Thank you, Miriam. And from my side, I submitted, let me be frank, I submitted my digital signature, and yesterday I was very excited to see our co-chair of the BBI steering committee, former Dagoretti South Member of Parliament, Dennis Waweru, submit a soft copy of the digital signatures, and I thought mine was there included together with that of Douglas and other Kenyans who made it through that digital form. And for those who did it manually, they also subjected it to BBI, IEBC for scrutiny and verification. Therefore, it's a very good move. And as per yesterday, Miriam, what I can attest for this is that it's this to see that we are serious on the journey for redeeming this country from unfair election, to realize the fight against corruption, and to bring shared prosperity is on course. And yesterday was a culmination that those people who thought that we'll have more amendments, we'll have more consensus, that the room for consensus is sealed. There's no more loopholes to this document. As it is now, the gray areas, if you think they are there, it is going up to the referendum and with those people who have reservations. And the best they can do now is to subject it for a campaign of a no and go and vote no, and those who feel like it's a good document to go and vote yes, and this matter will be determined by Kenyans, because the power and the sovereignty of this constitution belongs to the people of Kenya. And by yesterday, Miriam, and as we move on, now is a matter of verification. And Miriam, from the 4.4 million signatures that were presented yesterday, we can be sure that we'll have 1 million signatures that are verifiable, that are realistic, that belongs to the people of Kenya. And this process will sail through to the county assemblies. And this to see that we'll have, at the end of the day, next year, we'll have a referendum. And that is my take on that. And there's people who opposed, Miriam, they are not denied. These are constitutional, is a democratic country. They are not denied by anybody or any institution from starting their own constitutional amendment process, because they feel like they had good ideas. Let them also bring. We might end up also signing to their document to go through the IEBC. And at the end of the day, Kenyans will have to compare and vote. And that is how democratic this country is. And we also saw those people who have been fighting the process, their views being accommodated. Therefore, at the end of the day, we anticipate, even after this BBI going through or not going through, Kenyans will have that feeling of unification, that feelings of having to negotiate for things and having a conversation around issues. Because if they were able to accommodate the views of the deputy president, who have been a critic of the whole process from the word go, therefore this to show that this process is not in bad faith, it's a process that tries to bring inclusivity in this country. And Miriam, one thing that they must guarantee Kenyans, even as we go through this BBI process, process is fairness in our election, is the credibility, verifiable, and transparency in our election system, because that is the contentious issues that have been affecting Kenyans. And if we have fairness in election, we'll be guaranteed of good leaders that reflect the will of the people. And this issue of 207 will not repeat itself. And that is my wish. And I wish all Kenyans will join hands and we start a conversation of redeeming our country, because this country will be made better. And the problem that we are facing as a country, we are the only people who have a remedy, the solution, and a mechanism to bring them to a solution. Mm-hmm. And that is my take on that. And that for those who thought BBI train was a joke, this is more of an electric train, and you will only get to it at the ballot. And that is why you say that this train is not good for this country, or we can take it back to station and restart it again. Thank you very much.
All right, very well. Thank you so much, Govn. Very well said there. Now let's jump to our last topic item there, also under the week that was this week, and that is the development projects that President Uhuru Kenyatta was able to preside on this week, while the rest of you are politicking, although he did a bit of politics yesterday there at the coast, but above all, he's been busy. President Uhuru Kenyatta has been booked. He's busy before he takes his rest. I think he will be in the next couple of days. He's been busy traversing the country and inspecting and also seeing to it and opening some of some developmental projects, especially at the coast. And President Uhuru Kenyatta on Thursday unveiled 3 development projects in Mombasa. The first project Uhuru commissioned was the local assembly of the Malaysian Proton Saga saloon cars at the Associated Vehicle Assemblies in Miritini. How many people knew that? He did that. And also the president proceeded to the launch of the construction of the 4.5 billion Kenya shillings Makupa Bridge in Mombasa County, when completed in January 2022. This is another one, wachana na ile floating bridge, which we shall see shortly. When completed in 2022, the 4-lane oversea bridge is expected to replace the 1929 Makupa Causeway, which will be demolished to enhance free flow of seawater and restoration of marine life. President Kenyatta concluded his working tour of Mombasa County by inaugurating the 1.2-kilometer Likoni pedestrian floating bridge. The Sea Link, the first of its kind in East Africa, will take up most of the foot traffic by linking Liwatoni on Mombasa Island with Rasbofu in Likoni mainland. This will free up the ferry crossing, which has been in service since 1937, to cater for cargo and traffic across the Kilindini Channel without disrupting shipping services. So let's just start by watching a video there when President Uhuru Kenyatta was presiding over the Likoni floating bridge yesterday.
Ikaamua ya kwamba inastahili tufanyie wananchi hawa haki, na ndio waweze kutembea bila kufikiria, bila kujali ni saa ngapi. Mtu anajua ya kwamba mimi nitafika kazi ama nitaenda shughuli zangu bila wasiwasi wa kwenda kungojea feri ama kupanga laini ati ndio nipite, ukitumia masaa 2-3 ukingojea kupita, ukichelewesha kazi zako. Hii daraja sasa itawezesha Mkenya yeyote kuweza kutembea masaa ile ambaye anataka, kwenda nyumbani, kuingia kazi, kufanya shughuli zake bila matatizo. Tunaelewana wenzangu? Sasa hawa zaidi ya watu 1000, when your time is ready, dakika 10 umevuka, umeenda nyumbani ama umeingia kazini. Na hiyo ndio sisi tulikuwa tunataka. Turahisishe maisha ya wananchi wetu kwa kuwatendea na kufanya miradi ambaye itarahisisha kazi yao, na hiyo ndio lengo letu. Na hii daraja sasa imebaki tu kwa sababu imekwisha, lakini tumekubaliana ya kwamba hawa ambao wanajenga, mainjinia na wale wengine, kwa mwezi huu mpaka tupite hapo sikukuu, waendelee washughulikie, wahakikishe ya kwamba kila kitu ni sawa, iko safe. Lakini tumekubaliana nao kuanzia the 1st of January wananchi muwe mtakuwa mnapitia hapa bila shida, bila anything. Lakini kwa hii wiki chache tuhakikishe ya kwamba kila kitu kimeundwa, kwa sababu hatutaki kuhatarisha maisha
ya wananchi wetu, si ndio? Kwa hivyo from the 1st of January, na ndivyo tumekubaliana, hii daraja wananchi ndio mtakuwa mkitumia kuvuka na kuingia upande wa Likoni. Si namna hiyo? Na mimi naamini ya kwamba itasaidia wakaaji both wa hapa kisiwani sa Mombasa na pia upande ya Likoni na Kwale kwa jumla. Hapo awali pia tulikuwa tumeenda kuanzisha daraja pale Makupa ambaye tutakuwa sasa tukivuka, kwa sababu tunataka Mombasa iwe kisiwa tena, kwa sababu hiyo causeway hapo imeleta shida nyingi za environment na mambo mengine. Hiyo daraja ikiisha, Mombasa itakuwa kisiwa, itatusaidia na usafi wa Mombasa, itatusaidia na wavuvi wetu pia, kwa sababu upande ule mwingine wa Tuda ambapo sasa maji haitembei, samaki hawazalishi vizuri, sasa hiyo area yote itafunguka tena, wavuvi wafaidike, wakaaji wa Mombasa wafaidike, usafi uweze kuingia Mombasa, na pia wananchi wawe na njia rahisi ya kutoka again mainland kuingia kisiwa cha Mombasa bila shida na bila taabu. Na hiyo tunatumaini baada ya miezi mingine 12 tutaweza kumaliza haya. Jana tulikuwa na waziri mkuu wa Ethiopia ule upande wa Lamu, ambapo tena tunafungua port mpya, na hawa wenzetu wa Ethiopia na wa South Sudan watakuwa wanatumia hiyo port kupeleka mizigo yao. Hiyo ni kazi kwa vijana wetu ambao wataandikwa huko Lamu. Barabara tayari kutoka Malindi kuelekea mpaka Lamu. By February hiyo tutazindua, wananchi wa Lamu waone lami yao ya kwanza kutoka dunia. Mgundwe wawe na lami yao. Mtu anaweza kutoka Mombasa kwenda Lamu, ni kweli kuwa hata nchi moja jamani. Sasa ukitoka Mombasa uko ndani na umefika Lamu na masaa 2-3. Na hiyo ni kumaanisha ya kwamba Lamu sasa itakuwa open for business, vijana wapate kazi, na mimi nahakikisha ya kwamba hata usalama utaendelea kuimarika katika sehemu hizi. Si hivyo? Mwaka ujao pia tunataka kuanzisha barabara ya kutoka Lamu kwenda mpaka Garissa, ndio ifike upande wa Mogadishu, upande ya Garissa huko juu, ikwende iliungane na barabara pale Isiolo ya kwenda Moyale, ndio watu kutoka Nyanyuki, watu kutoka Wajia, watu kutoka Mandera, watu kutoka Marsabit, watu wa Ethiopia, wote ambao wanakuja kutembea Mombasa au kufanya shughuli zao, hakuna haja ya kuteremka mpaka Nairobi. Unakuja unapitia hiyo, kama uko biashara Lamu unamalizia huko, kama unakuja Mombasa unateremka tu ni namna hiyo wenzangu. Alafu pia mwaka ujao tunaanzisha barabara nyingine ambaye tunataka kuunganisha, ndio ituunganishe na wenzetu wa Tanzania. Tutaanzisha barabara ambaye labda kama mwezi wa 3 wa 4, barabara kubwa kutoka upande ya Malindi ikuje ipitie hapa Mombasa, ivuke kupitia hii Dongo Kundu ambaye Mishi ameongea juu yake, itembee mpaka Lungalunga, iingie Tanzania mpaka Bagamoyo. Hiyo sasa ni kumaanisha ya kwamba wananchi wa Kenya na wa Tanzania hakuna tena shida ya usafiri, watu wataweza kusafiri kufanya biashara zao, na tunaamini ya kwamba karibu mwezi wa 4 hapo tutakuwa pale Lungalunga pamoja na mwenzetu tukifungua na tukianzisha hiyo barabara kirasmi. Kazi hiyo ianze, wananchi waweze kuendelea. Kuna yale ambayo tunaendelea hapa, hii barabara ya kwenda airport, barabara ya kuelekea upande ya Mariakani na kwingine, hizo tunaendelea. Wale tumeunganisha hiyo barabara ya kutoka Samburu kwenda Kinango, na hivi karibuni tunataka kutoka Kinango twende mpaka Kwale. Hii Dongo Kundu ndio hiyo, tumekubaliana ya kwamba tunataka tumalize hiyo, alafu tuanzishe huu mradi wetu wa economic zone hii. The economic zone ambayo tunataka kuanzisha hapo. Pia vijana wetu waweze kupata kazi, waweze kuendelea na mambo yao. Jamani, mambo haya yote tuwatenda ndio vijana wetu waweze kupata kazi, kwa sababu kazi jamani haitapatikana kupitia kupiga domo peke yake. Domo haianzishi chochote. Domo itakufurahisha, matusi itakufurahisha, lakini kwa ukweli utalala njaa siku hiyo. Tunaelewana wenzangu? Utalala njaa. Na sisi hatuna haja na wananchi wa Kenya wakilala njaa kwa sababu ya ukosefu wa kazi. Haja yetu ni kuhakikisha ya kwamba tumetumia nafasi ambayo nyinyi wananchi mmetupatia ya uongozi kuhakikisha tumefanya juu chini.
All right. Thank you and welcome back. That was President Uhuru Kenyatta yesterday when he unveiled a couple of development projects yesterday, and also he was able to officially launch the start of use of the Likoni floating bridge. I see it has another name also there, but as we know it as Likoni floating bridge, and me and Douglas, we're so excited about it. You think we stay in Mombasa, but we've used that ferry before, and I said it and I'll repeat it again. Every time I was in that ferry, I felt like I was on a suicide mission. I'd never enjoyed it, and I wondered for the normal Kenyans who have to use this every day, because a lot of people used to come, they work in Mombasa, so they have to use this every day for whatever reason. They must. They don't have a choice. Maybe they got used to it. I don't know if I was ever going to get used to that, but also maybe I just fear a lot of water. I don't know, but it felt so unsafe. So this will go a long way in helping that, especially you've seen a lot of accidents happen there, and of course the latest one that happened, that unfortunate death of that mother and her 4-year-old daughter, that really caused a lot of anguish to the family and also to Kenyans, and opened our eyes to how unsafe that place is. And just a couple of days ago, we saw some leadership from the people at the coast. They're coming out and saying the projects that President Uhuru Kenyatta or the government is doing at the coast is not benefiting the local people there at the coast. So we had to go and dig and see what is it that has been happening there, and what has the government been doing, and how is it these people are saying it has not been benefiting the people of Mombasa. And according to the official facts, Mombasa, or the coast region in general, has received the most development project compared to any other part of this country. So obviously these leaders were not able to check their facts before they came out and start politicking. So this bridge, it is going to benefit the people. So, because they're saying a lot of these projects have no direct impact to the people of the coast. But this one, it's not a chopper that will be landing on it. It is the people who will be using it every day. So as we make our final remarks this week, Douglas Kirimi, what do you make of these development projects there, and how do you think the people, the coast, are going to benefit by this project?
Congratulations to President Uhuru Kenyatta, because I'll be making a journey to Mombasa in January to go and see the Riwatoni floating bridge. And so many other people from the countryside will be going as a tourist in Mombasa. People from all over East Africa will be going to visit. Ends of state will be coming to see this breathtaking technology that has been used to do a floating bridge in Mombasa. And also to President Uhuru Kenyatta and his administration, for the people of Mombasa, for the poor masses of Mombasa who could not afford any other means of transport other than to wait for the ferry to be able to move them from one side of the mainland to the island. Congratulations to him for that floating bridge. It is one of the breathtaking projects that he has ever launched in this country. Of course, with SGR, Nairobi Expressway that is taking shape and all that. But this one is one particular project that has touched my heart, because the poor masses in Mombasa, people who are abandoned like bananas in a ferry, will no longer be ferried there. They can walk on the floating bridge any time of the day, like the president said. They can. Children from our primary schools in Meru can go to Mombasa, walk on that bridge, take pictures, and tourists from all over the world. So, Miriam, this is one of my happiest days when the president, and to cut that ribbon, when the president of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, launched that bridge yesterday. I'm so excited, because that is one of the most considerate projects that the president has been able to do. We can term other presidents as development oriented and everything, but the people of Mombasa, the people of Kenya shall continue praying for president. I shall pray for him, my family will pray for him, and everyone else shall always be grateful that the president of the Republic of Kenya saved the people of Mombasa, including tourists, from accidents that were happening at the ferry. And also, we, the people of Kenya, are grateful to President Uhuru Kenyatta for such a bridge. Because Miriam, when people die at the Likoni ferry, and the recent one is the Miriam Kigenda issue with the baby, it touched a lot of Kenyans. Kenyans were broken. And Miriam, at this point in time, history shall be so kind to this president who has found it nice that he shall be able to build that bridge that has taken all our independence years, including the colonialists could not do such a bridge. It has taken President Uhuru Kenyatta political goodwill and also his own personal touch to be able to do that bridge. He went to Mombasa, gave ultimatums, and we saw him yesterday launch that bridge. In January, I shall be there. I shall witness history as it unfolds in Mombasa. And for the leaders of Mombasa, remember one of the leaders in Mombasa who used to deride the government and accuse it of not developing the coast, His Excellency Governor Joe is on the front line, and he is also very happy because the president has been able to transform Mombasa. Revenue will be more in Mombasa. In quote, those county officials who would want to steal more revenue is coming from a tourist in Mombasa, but they should also run from Sonko. They will go to prison. But at this point in time, people of Mombasa, development-wise, development is coming to Mombasa, revenue is coming to Mombasa, and people are going, their standards of living are going to be uplifted. Remember, the president also constructed through his administration, the Ndongo Kundu bypass, and also Miriam, there are so many things, including the Makupa Bridge the president wrote yesterday. And these leaders from Mombasa, who have always under this tendency of accusing the government of not developing the region so that they can ride to power, their days are numbered. In 2022, it won't work. We have seen Governor Joe every time prayer hosted to President Uhuru Kenyatta, because Governor Joe has realized now politics of deriding on President Uhuru Kenyatta and his government so that they can raise to power are over. Governor Joe now is a development-oriented leader who is also supporting President Uhuru Kenyatta to deliver to the people of Coast. And also to those leaders, I wish them that they can go and interview people at the Riwaton Bridge, the famous Likoni floating bridge, so that the people of Kenya, the poor people who cannot afford the chopper rides to move from one corner of the coast to the other, can be able to attest to this historical development. And I'm so grateful, Miriam. If I continue talking, I'll talk until tomorrow, because that thing is very close to my heart.
I know, me too.
When I'm in Mombasa, I don't go to the ferry because I don't like that thing, Miriam.
Yes.
Because I fear I might be the next victim of a ferry accident in Mombasa. This thing is going to be a thing of the past. I'm a proud Kenyan. I'm proud of my president. This is the president that we voted for. This is the Jubilee government that we voted for, and the president has delivered. On this note, Miriam, before I move from this point, because this is my crossing remark, I ask the deputy president to stop meeting people at Karen, to work with the president and continue delivering to the people of Kenya. Yesterday, we should have seen the deputy president launching that project with the president, but he was busy campaigning for his 2022 presidential bid. If he's not going to support the president, I'm more qualified to be deputy president. I can be appointed, or someone else can be appointed, so that he can continue with his 2022 bid, Miriam. And at this point in time in history, we are so proud of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Thank you.
Douglas, unatafuta kazi uko Ikulu. He wants to be he wants to replace Deputy President William Ruto. Well, me and you, Douglas, I'm also very excited about that floating bridge, and I can't wait when I go to Mombasa to just go past there and really have that experience over there. All right, thank you so much. Daniel Wesonga, what do you make of these developmental projects that have been taking place there, and how do you think they will impact the lives of the people there, the coast?
Miriam, my opening remarks is that the legacy trend is on course, unless the detractors of President Uhuru Kenyatta, the naysayers, look at whatever is happening beneath all these razzmatazz about the politics of the day, the BBI and everything. The president has been quite committed. We've seen the projects he has done in central Kenya. We've seen the projects he opened in Northeastern the other day. We've seen whatever he has done in Kisumu. We've seen whatever he has done in Western Kenya, and they are all impeccable projects, Miriam. And first and foremost, on the costs, we've had a very, very serious problem when it came to the Likoni Bridge. So many Kenyans had lost their lives in that particular area. And also the congestion that was there due to the breaking down of the ferry and all that. if you look at it from the economic perspective, it really denies the county and the country at large of an efficient labor force. Because whenever we have so many people not making it work because the ferry has broken down or because we have a technical hit there, then it means that the workforce and the labor force will not be efficient. So therefore, by opening up such a floating bridge, it means that we will have undisrupted movement of people from the Mombasa Island to the mainland and be able to make business and movement of goods to be quite efficient. Number two, Miriam, we've seen the expansion of the port of Mombasa. What does that mean? It means that the people of Mombasa are going to get more employment opportunities, because when we expand our port, it means that more containers are going to come in and they will need an increase in manpower to be able to work in that particular port. And also just the construction of it, we employ local labor force in doing such projects. The other day, he was in Lamu looking at the Lapset project. That is a project that I believe is going to employ a number of people, young people from the local community. It will also open up Kenya to its East African neighbors and allow free movement of goods and services. That makes sure that we increase our trade with our neighbors and we improve our earnings in the balance of payments at the end of every financial year. So to me, Miriam, I think President Uhuru Kenyatta is more focused on delivering on his Big Four agenda. The other day, if we move from Mombasa and come to Nairobi, we saw the units at Ngara, the housing units at Ngara being brought out for occupancy. So it tells you that no matter how much the detractors are trying to really derail and besmirch the agenda of the president, he's a person who's much determined to leave behind a legacy. He's a person who looks at the issues which are facing the Kenyan people. And that is why, besides working on his Big Four agenda, sometimes he also dedicates part of his time to look at the BBI, because the BBI sets preconditions for the Big Four agenda to take root. They're like the Siamese twins joined at the hip and at the head. So that one will also put there some permanent preconditions for the leader who will be able to succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta come 2022, to ensure that they are able to spearhead the good plans that the president had for the people of Kenya. And of course, he already mentioned that he might not be able to complete these projects during his tenure in office. And that is very much normal, because even Kibaki had the Vision 2030. He had a lot of inaugural projects, key project that he was not able to complete within a period of 10 years. And that is how much infrastructural, some of the infrastructural projects can take. Some could go as long as even 15 years. So I believe the president has done so much, he's still doing so much, and he's so much determined to ensure that he leaves a very solid legacy, a legacy that will be able to boost and propel our economy to a world-class economy, and be able to reduce the number of unemployment in Kenya, as well as raise the living standards of the people of Kenya. And that is what is expected of the leadership of the day, and especially from this presidency, as per the Jubilee Manifesto and as per the leader that the Kenyan people expect. I submit, Miriam.
All right, very well. Thank you so much. Jeb, and conclude for us.
Thank you very much, Miriam. I've listened to Douglas Wesonga, and today you are quite passionate, joined with Wesonga, that the Likoni ferry is something that is working very well. And I also joined there, and the people of Mombasa and Daniel are saying that the Jubilee government agenda is on course. And yesterday I heard some people say that those people who didn't vote for President Uhuru in 2017, they wish they could be given an opportunity to do that in 2022. And they said they can give him 5 fresh good years. And if that is something that was allowed into a constitution, I think this time round President Uhuru could got more than 50 plus 1%. And that is because of his legacy that speaks for itself, something that is outstanding. And we quite agree that when you go to Moyale, the kind of roads that they have, you go to Isiolo, you go to these areas of Mount Kenya region, Western Kenya, Kisumu, we have development agenda and a national government that are quite huge and that are transforming the lives of of people around those places. And yesterday we had the assembly of saloon cars in Miritini, and that is something that will boost the employment. The young people will get somewhere they can get employed. And this is not the first assembly. We had the Volkswagen, the Peugeot, and that is something that is bringing food on the table of many young people of this country. Therefore, when we talk of Jubilee agenda and the President Uhuru legacy, we talk of something that is tangible. We talk of something that we are witness of. And that is something that we agree and will keep on championing as he continues to with his remaining term. And Miriam, if that is what you have done, Miriam, is quite evident that he is setting the bar. He is setting the rules for the president who come in future. We succeed him in 2022 or in future. As a president, because now he'll have a manual, he'll have a script where he will learn what development means, what working for the people of Kenya means, and what service delivery means, and how it can transform the livelihood of people of this country. Therefore, I submit and I conclude by saying that the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta is on course. And those people who have sabotaged his agenda, they should not ride on his manifesto. They should not ride on his project. They should go out there and ride on wheelbarrows if they can take development to that level. And that is my submission. Thank you.
Chairman, how do you come from talking about a very wonderful floating bridge and then you take us back to wheelbarrows? We're moving forward, all right? You see, even Deputy President stopped giving them because he realized, no, we need floating bridges, not wheelbarrows. All right, thank you so much, Douglas Kirimi. Thank you, Daniel Wasonga. Thank you, Javan Karanja. And of course, while we were having this conversation, the news just reaching us. Remember the Machakos senator who has been receiving treatment. Machakos Senator Boniface Kabaka is now dead, and he died while receiving treatment at Nairobi Hospital a week after he ended up in ICU following 21-hour date with a teacher there. And that story is quite something, so we shall look at that even as the details continues there. That Machakos senator. Okay, I don't even think I have anything more to add to that, but I think we shall have this conversation even as the details of that continue to emerge. All right, thank you so much. This has been The Punch, and we've been looking at the week that was. My name is Miriam Ogutu, and hopefully you can meet here on Sunday at 2 p.m. East African time, where we shall be having our Africa Showdown. We shall look at the developments there from Ghana. They had the election this week, and we've seen how that has turned out, as well as bring us up to date with what has been happening in Cameroon and also Uganda and also Ethiopia. Abiy Ahmed was here while they opened that one-stop border point there in Moyale. I don't know. I was hoping that he would answer a few questions about what has been happening in the Tigray region, but I guess we are very good hosts, so we cannot make our guests very uncomfortable, but I would have been interested to know what really is happening there. But also that border point that was opened is very important, and will open up that region in the country to the rest of the world, and that will, increase more development in that region. So, all right, but I'll still talk about you, Abiy, on Sunday, the rest of us and the rest of Africa, and And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day and have a wonderful weekend ahead. And it is beginning to feel a lot like Christmas. Javan, what? Bye-bye.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.